Since it became clear that the electric car was going to be more than just a passing trend, one manufacturer has always been a step ahead. Say what you want about Tesla and Elon Musk, but they nailed the first decade of EVs. In fact, many said the established manufacturers would never catch up, but they'd always be trailing in the wake of Elon's SpaceX rocket ship, heading for galaxies untold to find new worlds to conquer. The age of the EV has well and truly made its mark.
And not so fast. You see, the old guard ain't giving up quite so easily, because this is the BMW i4. Now what it does is offer most of the bits of Bavarian goodness that made us flock to BMW's petrol and diesel cars, yet this time there's something entirely different under the bonnet. And all I can say is, BMW, what took you so long?
Well, actually, it didn't take BMW that long. See, the i3 EV first launched in 2013, and it looked to all the world that BMW had stolen a march on the likes of Audi and Mercedes-Benz with a proper, usable, small electric car that not even Tesla had managed.
And they did, but then it kind of stopped. We thought that the i3 would open the floodgates to reasonably affordable premium electric vehicles, but it's taken until now for the i4 to come on the market, and that's almost 5 years after the Tesla Model 3.
It's a peculiar gap, and one that gave rivals all the time they needed to claw back the valuable head start that BMW had carved out with the i3. It appeared that Munich had missed its moment.
But driving this today, you really wouldn't know it. I mean, the figures tell part of the story. From this eDrive 40 model, which is the base i4, you get 335 brake horsepower and up to 369 miles of charge. And if you find a charger quick enough, you'll get from 0 to 80% charge in just over 30 minutes. And whether you're a fan of electric cars or not, you can't argue that those figures, well, they're pretty impressive. And if you're not convinced, then how about the full-fat M50 version of the i4? 537 brake horsepower, twin motor, all-wheel drive, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 3.9 seconds. I mean, that is seriously quick. You will honestly leave most sports cars for dead.
But then it's not the one you want, because this eDrive 40 is the sweet spot. Where the all-powerful M50 may win at a game of top trumps, it doesn't have the same charm and poise of the rear-wheel drive 40. Heavier, more understeery, more boring. All things you wouldn't associate with a BMW.
Honestly, this eDrive 40 model is where it's at. You can drive it like a sports car with the sharp steering and the rear-wheel drive layout, or you can just cruise in comfort because it's quiet and refined and smooth. As usual with BMW, they've got the balance absolutely spot on. Losing BMW engines is sad. There's been some brilliant ones over the years. The S55, the S62, the S63, I could go on. But what would be worse is if BMW's lost their handling sparkle. And thankfully, this thing, the i4, it hasn't. It's still fun, it's still rear-wheel drive, and it still puts a smile on your face on a regular, boring, gloomy journey in a way that other cars simply can't. And if you think EVs are boring, then there's something about the way that you drive a fast electric car on a twisty road. It's so point and squirt because you don't really have to worry about the momentum as much. There's no gears. You just slow down for the corner and then you just power out of it. And the speed is unlike anything you'll get in a petrol or a diesel car, unless we're talking supercar territory. It's just so quick to do exactly what you want it to do. I mean, this eDrive 40 model, 0 to 62 miles an hour, 5.7 seconds, that is more than enough. In fact, it feels quicker than that because the torque and the responses are just so instant. And that's fun. I don't care what anyone says. I know it doesn't make the sound of a straight six, but I mean, this is a giggle.
Just make sure you add the M Sport Pro Pack if you're getting the eDrive 40 version. It's pricey at £2,500, but worth it as you get the adaptive dampers that are crucial to this car's dual personality.
Speaking of personalities, there's nothing in here that screams EV. Lots of new electric cars have a funky design and cabin layout that looks great in the brochure and on TikTok, but in reality, it doesn't work all that well. The i4 though, this is different. This car's interior is very similar to the 4 Series Gran Coupe, so you've still got a gear lever that allows you to go forwards and backwards. You've still got a nice clear speedometer right in front of your face, and BMW's brilliant iDrive infotainment system is still controlled via a good old-fashioned rotary dial. There's even, and this isn't a great thing for practicality, but there's even still a big lump in the back where the middle seat passenger would like to put their feet. In petrol and diesel cars, that's where the transmission tunnel goes, but in electric cars, they don't usually have it. The i4 does though, because the batteries, or some of the batteries, are located in there to keep the centre of gravity nice and low. I mean, yes, these screens are larger and more prominent than they are in the 4 Series Gran Coupe, and it would be nice to have some physical climate control dials instead of having to press it on the touchscreen, but none of that spoils the level of instant familiarity you get when you climb in the i4's cabin. And I can see what BMW are thinking there, because they've made brilliant car interiors for years, so why bother changing it just because there's something different under the bonnet? It doesn't make sense, does it?
And because you can merely hop from a 4 Series into an i4 and instantly feel at home, it's easier to appreciate just how good a car this is. It's quick, it's got plenty of range, it's built properly, and whether you like the looks or not, you can't deny that it stands out. It's more than just a box on wheels.
For the last few years, some electric car manufacturers have tried to emulate elements of Tesla. They've taken on the stance that cars are now boiled down to a high-tech piece of personal transport, rather than simply a car with a different type of fuel. For many of us, the latter is far more appealing, and that is what the i4 gives you. It's not a generic white good designed to take you from A to B. If you want that, then you're spoiled for choice. But if you like cars, then keep the faith, because like the E30 and the E46 that came before it, the i4 shows that there's still joy to be had from your everyday automobile.